Tahar, thank Nihal if you're awake. For a while, I wasn't sure you'd make it. How do you feel? Out on the battlefield, we didn't really get the chance to talk.
I just found out that my mother is a Shaper, and that she's still alive.
Bad, I assume. It's a tragedy. For what it's worth. I'm sorry.
I always have my doubts about Lacane.
I figured.
Be that it. You're still.
Me? No, of course not. Where would I go, Tahar? Not to mention that we're still in the ancient Shaper city, full of marvels waiting to be discovered.
Well...
A frown hasn't helped anyone yet, has it? There's, one more thing I wanted to ask you. It's about your mother.
Ask.
I'm not sure how to say this, but she was a Shaper. A living Shaper.
What are you getting at?
All tragedy aside, you have to understand how fascinating this is. A Shaper. I have so many questions, Tahar, so many questions. Iria said at the moment, and now I can't help but wonder, what was it? Did you see Mullendir in all its former glory?
I didn't see.
But that's even more exciting. She must have transferred some... Look, Tahar, I'm not sure how to say this, but how would you feel about it if I examine her? There's so much we could learn from her, even if her mind has left her body.
What do you mean by examine?
What? No, of course not.
Why?
You mean apart from being able to examine the body of a living Shaper? There's much we could learn. Maybe we could even find something that helps us fight Lacane.
If you really think...
You really just said that. I'll talk to Undergast as soon as possible. His knowledge will be a great help. It'll be a while before we can start, but we'll do it as soon as possible. Tahar, may I help you with something?
Goodbye. What do we need?
Tahar, ready to discuss the next steps?
There's just one thing...
You see, it's not hard to rally people behind you if they are desperate enough. He just gave them a simple answer to a complex question. Though I don't consider him a pragmatist, he really believes in what he says, that Aeonia will return once mankind has repented, which worries me even more. There's nothing more dangerous than fanaticism.
I want to talk about some
Well, what is there to say?
So you're not.
For you defending your life? No. I never understood why he was so...
But he was acting on your orders.
Well, yes, strictly spoken, he was. You were a traitor. Or at least, that's what we thought back then. That witch hunt in Iskander, the battle at the Eye, that was his choice.
Why?
Well, I can only guess. But to me, he always spoke highly of you. Did you know that? At times, it almost felt as if he considered you his own kin.
Well, if he did, he didn't
That doesn't surprise me. You see, Tahar, in the end, both he and I are men born from war. Seeing people die, you need to find a way to deal with it. And Sentenza did so by shutting... But...
Without the Harbinger...
That's true. But this discussion...
You didn't tell me yet. How exactly did you get here?
No, I wasn't. Otherwise, I wouldn't be standing here. But as you can imagine, it was a hard choice to make. But eventually, I left my...
So you
We retreated. The rest is simple. We went to Iskander because we had heard the rumors about your army. There, we met one of your scouts, and then the elven woman, Iria of Finon.
Oh, she decided to let...
Correct. You know the rest. Your people were a bit distrustful at first, and I don't blame them. After all, they'd been fighting the royal army not too long ago. But eventually, they realized that we are on the same side.
I hope that we are.
We are. Trust me.
All right, let's discuss what comes next. I'll go get the others.
Good.
Good. Now that you're all here, I'd like to plan how we proceed. As...
Tahar, I think you should allow yourself some more rest. You were in a coma for more than a month, and we still don't know what that melding actually...
Isn't it obvious? It made it...
Yeah, but where does that power come from? What effect does it have on the human body or the psyche? We don't know.
I'm all right, Iskrim. Thank you. So, our objective is clear. We need to defeat the purity of light and save my mother. Angar, am I right to assume that Lacane made Greykeep?
Correct. It's the center of his power, which is both good and bad. It's bad because Greyfell was built to withstand any kind of ambush.
And why is it good?
Because it also means if we succeed and reconquer Greyfell, we'll cut off the snake's head. However, there's no point in fooling ourselves. That battle for Greyfell will be bloody, and if we want to have even the slightest chance of...
Ultran, Hallet, and Wulfgar.
Yes. If we put this army together with theirs, we might...
So do I.
All right.
It's up to you. But before we can even think about arranging a conclave between the houses, we need to break that spell the Harbinger put on my sister Iskra. Any idea?
Actually, it should be simple. We need to find the one controlling her, take the rune, and, well, destroy it in the forge.
And who is controlling her?
I doubt it. The manipulator has to be physically close to his subject, so it'll most likely be someone in Lady Myra's army. But your rune will react to another rune's presence, so once that
Good. The Harbinger has taken up position in Iskander, between the Utran and the Everlight border. You know that place, Tahar. It's where your father started his rebellion, and where Sentenza almost captured it.
The Loyalist camp.
We strike in full force and take the castle. He'll be forced to initiate a counterattack, and my sister...
A bait.
Yes. We hold the castle against the main army, whereas you, Tahar, and a small troop get behind enemy lines. You find the... Obviously, you'll have to act quick. We can't hold against the entire Utran army forever.
What if killing the rune carrier won't break...
We'll just have to hope that doesn't...
All right. So we take over the castle.
Yes, though we'll...
Agreed. Well, then we best get...
Understood. Tahar, I'd also like to talk with you if you have a moment.
Corporal Tahar. A word, if you will?
Who are you?
Private Miller, Corporal. I'm from the... We've captured someone who we suspect... He was seen in the city, and he looks suspicious. He claims to be a simple courier sent to deliver a message to you, but we didn't want to take any risks.
Thank you, soldier. Dismissed.
Corporal?
Let's see.
Oh, great. Another one. How often do you want me to tell you? I'm not a spy, and I'm not with Purity.
Wait! You're their leader, aren't you? Corporal Tahar?
Yes?
Well, then maybe you can tell these fools to let me go. Blazes, I knew it was stupid to take that job.
So, who are you? And what were you...
As I told this bloody brute who captured me, I'm just a courier. And someone... I had no idea it was the Corporal Tahar. And had I known, I would have told that guy who gave me the job to sod off.
Who was it?
Well, he was wearing a hood, so he obviously didn't want to be recognized, but he had a brown beard, was about your height, and...
But he didn't look dangerous and paid good coin.
Oh, finally, someone who asks. Yes, it's in my coat pocket, and...
Let me see. A meeting in Everlight.
A friend, you see? Can I go now?
Yes.
Thank you, Corporal. Thank you. Now, don't get me wrong, but I...
They will.
I'll try.
Ah, Tahar. Good of you to come by.
Sure. You wanted to talk?
Yes. I'll be brief. While you were asleep, an elven messenger came by. Varden Merilith, one of the Moorhere scryers from Leafshade, sent him.
Merilith?
Only that he needed your help. They, that is, he and a couple of his followers, seem to be somewhere deep in the Leafshade jungle, near the Halayish ruins.
The old Hibernian city?
I don't know, Tahar. We will need to find out.
Do we really have time?
That is something you will need to decide. But if we don't help, it might cause unrest within the Moorhere, who are fighting for us.
All right.
We should. Is there anything else you wish to discuss, Tahar?
Now would you... Tell me, Angar. Do you
That's a hard question to answer. And you know it. On the one...
Logic.
Yes. After all, your father did in the Mage War.
Worse than a mage genocide? You let the Purity murder hundreds of...
Most of them were war criminals anyway. They would have been sent... But,
however, I will not lie.
Mages are a problem, and something needs to be done about them. If we don't, it is only a matter of time until a second...
We need a group that represents mages.
That is an interesting idea. But to return to your question, all I did was take every factor into consideration and decide accordingly. You did the same, more than once.
We tried to help.
I believe you. What I'm trying to say is, there might have been a better way to handle things, but I did not see it. I did what I could, and even though it turned out to be a mistake,
I wanted to talk.
I had a think. Look, it was all I could do.
You also could have used common sense. I risked my life to help Nortander back when I turned to my father.
What? You're right. Either way, I don't hold any grudges against you. It is indeed.
Did you ever think about what would happen if the Queen...
She will wake up. The healer...
They've claimed that ever since the dragon...
The Queen has Hibernian blood in her veins. And as long as her heart... Though...
Really?
A cousin. I suppose, however...
It's the first time...
Yes, I can feel it.
I'll be leaving.
All right.
Interesting. You said that you have an idea on how we can get...
Yes, I do. It's someone you're already familiar with. At least, according to your friend Iria.
You want to convince them to join up?
Not all of them, obviously. The field dog are an even greater threat than the purity, even if most people nowadays have almost forgotten about. What I suggest is that we
Engineers and infantry for a handful of knights. Is that really?
It is. The Falcons aren't only excellent fighters. Their presence will also inspire our soldiers.
That's not what it seemed like when I was there. High Keeper Aranor almost lost the tomb just...
Well, given that the latter now fight for the Harbinger, a mistrust wasn't that unjustified, don't you think? But still, you make a fair point. Keeper Aranor...
All right.
Whenever you want.
Fair enough.
Good.
You said you know where we can find more allies.
I'll make it short. The Ash Reavers have invaded the foot of Bargagor. If we defeat them and their leader, like we defeated Krell, their soldiers will join us.
The Ash Reavers?
Yes, you already met them.
So?
Well, yeah, except for one thing. Kagan, the Ash Reavers chieftain.
Why?
No, it's more complex. Do you remember the story about...
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, to get to the point.
Did you...
We only... Which is...
I see.
In other words...
Why is...
Isn't it obvious?
But that's crazy.
Does he?
Huh. So what...
If all else that I...
All right.
Yes. Chieftain Czar already left before you woke up to get an...
Tahar, over here!
Bertrand. What? Did you send the message?
Well, otherwise I wouldn't be. And no, this isn't an ambush. The Harbinger doesn't know I'm here. Look, Tahar, I don't know where to begin. I'm so sorry for what Lacane did.
Did you know?
No, I didn't. He always spoke very highly of you, even though you were a mage. I don't think anyone within the Purity knew the bigger picture. But now that I do, it makes sense. He needs the power of the Shaper Woman to open the gate. I just don't By guiding the Harbinger to the Shaper Woman and ending the Bloodburn, you serve the All-Father just as he foresaw it.
Well, maybe that's because he's...
I'm sad you...
Then why are you here?
What? No, of course not. I'm here because You can't win this, Tahar. And all you will achieve is cause even more suffering. Aeonir will return. It's a divine plan. And it is the Purity's responsibility to see it through.
We will cause. We aren't the ones hunting down mages, conquering cities, and forcing our faith down other people's throats.
Blazes, Tahar! Do you really... I know we were forced to do some things you might have trouble understanding. As the Harbinger once said, this world, it's like an ulcer, a cancerous growth. So yes, I know there are people who might consider us evil, but that's because in 100 years from now, we will be remembered as pioneers, as heroes, whereas you will be the ones who stood in the way of change, only because you refused to see the truth.
You don't even have proof, for heck's sake. All you have is some madman's prophecies of some vague fantasy world.
It's not a fantasy! Damn it, Tahar! If you would have seen what I have, you would fall down on your knees and ask the All-Father for— But it's always like that. The key to a—
Well, I hate to break it.
You do?
What?
Then you will see that we were right, and no one else needs to die.
Apart from the ones who refuse to give up, or who are unlucky enough to be hunted down by your Lightbringers.
They could do the same. And if only they had a hint of reason, they would. Only a fool tries to fight the truth.
What would the Harbinger do if I told him of—
You wouldn't do that. You wouldn't stab someone in the back who tried to help you.
I can't, Bertrand. I want this as little as you do, but—
Well, I had a feeling you would say that. I never imagined it would ever come to that, you know? And I hope it hadn't.
The head. I think that's them.
Not saying you are wrong, but maybe now wasn't the best time to cause turmoil among your people, don't you think?
There was no way I could have known this would happen.
Maybe not. Maybe you could have. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Seems your allies have arrived. You're Tahar, aren't you? Silverhand is pleased to meet you.
Watch it, Tahar. This man's aura is overwhelming.
It is indeed, but that doesn't mean he wants to harm you.
He?
Him. Silverhand. The man you were talking to.
Okay. What was that? Did you just—
Send you a message. Yes, he is a dreamweaver. But don't worry, it doesn't mean that he can read your thoughts. All he can do is transfer them to you, and only if you're close.
Who are you?
Just call him Silverhand. Most people do. He's a friend of the elves, you might say. Particularly of the brown blood Moorhere kind. And he's here because his friend Varden Merilith told him they had gotten themselves into trouble. Once again. Arlen Finrior, the first scryer of
Ran off. I think that's a better way to put it. But let's talk in the outpost. Follow me.
All right. So, where do we begin? The corruption—
But why? We cleaned—
You did, yes. But as it turns out, that was only temporary. Then, one night, Arlen Finrior ran off.
Why?
Well, he left a note. To cure the—
There's more to it, though. Silverhand hasn't told Varden yet. But he can feel it.
I see. So you're here to find Arlen, is that it? And that's what you need our help for?
Yes. Despite Silverhand and his mages, the jungle turns out far more perilous than anticipated. There's corrupted, there's those beasts, and there's purity, as they like to style. Silverhand would call them self-important blockheads.
So what do you need us to do?
The same you did in Leafshade. Find the cause of the corruption and end it. And, of course, find Arlen if he's still alive. If we don't settle that matter, we don't have a choice but order the troops we provided you with back to us.
Not to mention that the corruption might spread, which, after this land just lived through the Bloodburn, would be an unfortunate development indeed.
Any idea what the purity—
None. They seem to be peaceful, as far as that can ever be said about them.
All right. I'll scout the jungle for traces of Arlen and the source of the corruption. You stay here and make sure your camp is safe.
Good to hear. Thank you, Tahar. I mean it. We'll hold our position.
Though Silverhand might reach out to you every now and then. We shall see.
Fair enough. Stay safe.
Yes?
So, that man can talk in our thoughts?
So it seems. He's a dreamweaver, like Kiana.
Well, I'm glad she doesn't do this often. That way? Sure.
Will do. What's next?
That way?
Let's see.
You got it.
As you want.
Understood.
Sure.
What the blazes? Who are you? Are you with the white robes?
I'm with the elves.
Me? Oh, I'm just a collector.
Tahar.
I think he's a
Well, I guess you see, if you know where to look, these ruins are a gold mine. Though those purity folk, the tentacle monsters and that bloody fog down south haven't exactly made my job easier in recent days.
We're looking for Hibernian shards.
Shards? Oh, of course, those. Ah, you should find plenty of them in pretty much every Hibernian ruin out there. They're not worth shit, so I don't usually bother with them, so you shouldn't have trouble.
I see. Well, any idea what the pure...
Not really, but if I had to guess, I'd say...
Can I take a look at those?
Oh, you mean? Ah, sure, why not? Take a look.
Good thinking. Understood. Yes.
Yes?
Sounds like a plan.
Fine.
You got it. All right, here goes nothing.
It's over already.
Good move.
Sure.
Will do.
As you want.
That way?
They will... Tiara's breath. That thing is strong. I think we'll need troops to defeat it.
You have a chance. You?
I need mana!
It's over already.
Got it.
Good thinking.
You got it.
Fine.
Sure.
Zarek guides me. Sure.
Sounds like a plan.
As you want.
Sure.
Will do.
Zarek guides me.
Blazes! That's a lot of them!
Tahar, Silverhand has felt something shift. What's happening?
Abominations! Help us! Tiara's breath. That was close.
They seem to be coming from the south. Maybe that's where we should look for the corruption then.
Here we go. You got it.
Understood.
Good move.
Understood.
That way? Ellen's raids. Did you see that?
The fog killed them. Could that be?
The center of the corruption. Yes, it could be. It emanates the same magical signatures as the pools in Leafshade.
Then this must be where it started. The wind must have spread it all the way to Lithuanian. That's interesting.
Tahar, Silverhand just sensed something. Death. Are you all right?
I am. We found the source of the corruption. At least, I think so. We'll head back to your camp now.
Oh, excellent.
Was that Silverhand?
It was.
Sure.
Sure.
Understood. Purity soldiers. Huh. Seems that the abominations don't make an exception for them.
I'll save my tears for another day.
Zarek guides me.
Interesting.
Good move. For the fire wielders! It's over.
Got it.
Sounds like a plan.
5.
Understood.
You got it.
Zarek guides me.
Sure.
Now would you look at that?
Silverhand said you found the cause of the corruption.
I think so. There's a thick, reddish mist spreading all across the middle of the jungle. It kills whoever walks into it. I'm afraid not. But we saw purity in the jungle. They seem to be oblivious to what the mist...
Silverhand sees. Well, they are not our priority right now. The purity will be dealt with once we've cleared the corruption. Be that as it may, it seems they are not getting anywhere without clearing up that mist.
Maybe there's something you and your winter mages could do about it?
No. No, Silverhand cannot. But he thinks...
You don't sound too happy.
Yes, well, he is a complicated character, and that's putting it...
A dark elf?
Yes, but save for him, Silverhand can't think of anybody who could help us otherwise. You'll need to find him and bring him here. He lives in the old monastery.
The old monastery? What's that?
You don't know. It was once an old cloister devoted to the Guardians, but it burned down in the War of the Six Races.
So I'm guessing you want me to go there.
Wraith. His name is Wraith. But yes, that is what he would ask you to do. Silverhand knows you've traveled far already, but unless you know another way to deal with that mist...
All right, I'll try.
Huh?